This module is related to the society, the economy, and the environment. Population, resources, and economic self-sufficiency. That is the basic context which we are going to discuss. Here we need to understand about the population resource ratio, which is very much important whenever we are going to discuss about how much resources are available to how much population. So that ratio is important. Historically, trade were, in terms of volume, have negligible impact on the masses, because trade is not going to change the societies in terms of their economic life, in terms of their living standard and so on. So it's a negligible impact or small impact. Material life was previously function of level of local self-sufficiency. If economies or the communities are more self-sufficient, then their living standard is better. If they are less self-sufficient, their living standard is poor. Then renewable resources were available to the economies, and they need to be harnessed through the simple technologies. So simple technologies were used to harness those natural resources which were available to the societies, just like the mostly agriculture sector were focused, as well as the manufacturing sector, in which mostly labor is doing manual work, and simple technologies which can be used hand manufacturing kind of situations. Just like we know that the different kind of carpets are being prepared through the hands, or in agriculture sector you know that all cultivation and harvesting process is being performed by the people manually. Then socio-economic transformation happened, at least toward the orbit of world economy. It's changed the whole orbit of the world economy, and zoom in the human dependence on natural resources. Now the human dependence on natural resources has increased or expanded a lot. So it's zoom in because now natural resources are becoming more important for human development. So they are focusing on them more. So this population resource ratio needs to continue adjustment in production technologies, consumption patterns, environmental protection, and common goods. So all these were required by the population resource ratio. So this population resource ratio it needs to be adjusted with reference to production technique. If that kind production technique, what kind of production technique is required for a particular population, if a particular quantity of resource is there, so more resource need to be generated, or the technique need to be changed and less resource need to be used. So it is resource saving kind of techniques on that kind of consumption pattern. That particular natural source, if it is not available much more, then consumption need to be reduced with reference to that particular natural source, or that natural source proportion should be reduced in terms of production of that particular product which is being consumed by the consumers. Environmental protection, then this whole scenario of production and consumption is going to affect the environment. So this need to be managed properly, so the environment should not affect. Then the common goods, which are the common resources, that need to be focused, because we are not that generation which is going to consume everything. We have to left something for the next generation, and so we need to discover more for the next generation. So every next generation is going to have more than whatever we have. So in this context, this population resource ratio need to be focused. Then self-sufficient total production has a few important things. Number one, it should be sustainable, and sustainable mean it has some limitation with respect to the resource exploitation. Just like we can easily understand that whenever a particular society is self-sufficient, automatically that society tries to utilize their resources for the long period of time. So they know that whatever they have is what they have. So they have to live with on the basis of these sources by themselves, and their next generations are going to live by using the same resource. So they try to use that resource with some limit. They are not going to exhaust that resource totally. Second, diversified, versatile needs of society, which is going to exploded, which is going to be expanded in multiple dimensions. So this diversification of needs actually create a pressure over that particular ratio. So it happens due to the geoclimate based harvesting. So the geoclimate based harvesting in which area what kind of climate is suitable to what kind of product. So the product should be produced there more as compared to other. Lack of specialization was previously in case of self-sufficient societies. So efficiency with layer, they enjoy more layer, and whatever efficiency they were comfortable, they were satisfied with the level of efficiency they have. And so what they do, Minimax model mean minimum possible work and maximum possible consumption. So maximum possible consumption is giving maximum satisfaction, and minimum work is giving much more layer to them. So work more if this ratio is going to change, population resource ratio is going to deteriorate, or desire for more production is or consumption is required, then they try to work hard, then they try to put more effort, otherwise not, if that ratio is stable. So ecosystem compatible ecosystem is going to be more compatible with the resource use, mean to say whenever self-sufficient societies are using their resources, they consider or they take care of the ecosystem. It should not be disturbed. So they let the ecosystem to work effectively, efficiently. Accordingly, they develop their production system or design. Then environmental exploitation causes happen. There are few important reasons. Growing population. Since the population is growing rapidly, specifically in developing countries, so the developed countries are worried about that. So they are saying that you should control the population, because over the world, across the world, the whole population, if growing up, automatically it is imposing much more pressure on the given natural resources. Second, invasion of market economy, which leads towards commercialization of the resources. So more commercialization, allowing the people, previously they are not using so much at large scale, now they are using so much at large scale. Just like the fish products, let's suppose, previously used by country, and then international demand for that kind of product, for versatile kind of products, increase the demand or pressure over the extraction of these fish. So automatically more fish extraction mean less these are available for regeneration. So flow is going to affect. External rule and colonization were also affect this, because external rule needs to focus on raw material, generating more raw material, factor production, specifically labor and such kind of things. And specifically they want to generate more taxes. They want to collect more tax revenue, because they want to have more control over more area and generate more revenues for their working or accumulating wealth. So compromise environment if no alternative exists. So only self-sufficient economies compromise the environment if they don't have any alternative. But if the alternatives are there, they can use that alternatives and they can control the provide the important environmental protection situations.